We're going to show you how to adjust the trigger on the Umarex Gauntlet. First thing you need to do is remove the bottle. It's not absolutely necessary to remove the bottle from a structural point. You can get to the trigger without doing that. But for safety, you really want to do that. The reason we want to remove the bottle is because we've got to take this screw to get the stock out, and this screw actually stabilizes the valve also. So we want to remove that pressure just to be safe here. So again, we're going to do it the way I like to, which is give this a full turn here, and then shoot it until we get the air off of the valve. Now theoretically I could leave it like this because there's no pressure here, but we're going to be safe and do it the right way. So off that comes. Now that we've got the bottle off, there are 3 screws that we need to remove. I'm going to take the screws from the side here off. And this comes with a lock washer on it that we don't want to lose. Then we'll do the same on the other side. And now with the Phillips screwdriver again, we'll remove this screw. Now we take the safety and move it to that angle, and now it will slide through a slot in the stock. And now we can pull the action out of the stock. Now we're ready to adjust the trigger of the Gauntlet. And it has 3 screws that we will adjust here. And you'll see them here on the back. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. Now you can get to them from the back here, and that's how we're going to adjust it. I'm going to take off this front plate so that you can see what's going on inside, but you don't need to take off this front plate. In fact, it's not recommended. One of the big adjustments is this sear here that they actually give you a window cutout so that you can watch. And when we cock the gun, you can see that the sears are now engaged. If I put it on fire, I've already checked that the gun's unloaded. And you can see what a long, long trigger pull. Let me pull it from behind. We have here. It's a single stage trigger, and it's got an incredibly long pull. We're going to also adjust the weight of the release here. So let's test it where it's at right now. 2 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, let's start adjusting it here. Like I say, I'm going to take off the faceplate so you can see what's going on. You don't need to do this. Now we'll remove this faceplate. And you can clearly see, I hope, the 3 adjustments that we have here. We've got the spring, which adjusts the weight of the pull. We have an over travel adjustment, and we have the sear engagement screw here. So this top one is the one we're going to work on to try and reduce the length of the pull. And this screw and this screw both take a 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench, and this one takes a 3 millimeter Allen wrench. So let's go ahead and just start to turn that. Now watch, I want you to watch right here. This is the sear engagement, and this right here is what's going to change. As I push this screw in, this screw goes in and it pushes the trigger forward like that. So we want to get it closer there so I don't have to pull. so far. So just keep an eye on that as we adjust this. So as we push that in, we can see we're getting a shorter pull. Now let's try it out and see how it feels. I'm just worried about doing that without the plate. I'm going to put the plate on here just to keep everything nice and snug, and we'll try out. Okay, so it's better, but it's still longer than I want and longer than it needs to be. Now you'll notice that really small adjustments with the wrench move that sear considerably. So don't overdo it. Make small adjustments. You can keep making them. Okay, that's much better. That's pretty good. I'm going to try to do it just a little bit more. You have to realize that there are safety concerns here. If you make the sear engagement too little, then the gun can fire on its own. It can fire when it's dropped, and so forth. So we will test that before we finalize the process here. Okay, that is a nice, it's a single stage trigger, but that is a nice short pull. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. But now we can go ahead and adjust our over travel screw, which is the middle one. And when we say over travel, watch what happens here. There the sear disengages, but the trigger can keep moving back. So I want as little movement as possible. We want to reduce that over travel. And this is very simple. Just take your 1.5 millimeter wrench, screw it in. We're going to start with half a turn and try it out. If you do it too far, then the trigger won't go far enough back to disengage the sear. But that it does, and it's able to. But it's actually hitting that screw before it engages, which gives us actually the feel of a second stage there, but it also increases the weight of pull because I'm actually having to pull through that screw. So we're going to just back it off a little bit and try it again. Yeah. So again, it breaks and doesn't travel very far back. I think we can tighten it up a little bit more still, just a hair of a turn, and that's about right. But trying to get this perfect, I'm going to put it in just a little bit more. And there we go. That's really nice, and that's about as good as we're going to get it. Let's see if this has changed the weight of the pull. £2, 4 ounces. So just the adjustments we've done so far have lowered the trigger weight. But we're still going to back this off a bit and see what we can do. So we take our 3 millimeter wrench. I'll pull the cap off, the plate off again here so you can see what's happening. So now we're going to relieve some of the pressure that spring is holding back here. So again, small adjustments, my 3 millimeter wrench. Let's start with a quarter turn. And £2, 4.7 ounces. So our small adjustment didn't make a big difference. So let's do another one. We'll do another quarter turn here. And try it out. £1 13 ounces. And again, the important thing is really the feel of it here. And that is a nice crisp trigger. I think we can back it off just a little bit more. Let's do one more quarter turn. £1 9 ounces. Let's see how far we can go. Let's do one more quarter turn there. Now, another thing you want to feel for is the engagement here. When I pull the bolt back, it still feels like it's engaging nice and crisply. You can't go by that by itself. We're going to do a mallet test, but if it's not feeling crisp, then you know you've gone too far. Okay, that's £1 6 ounces. And for me, that's about where I want it. I know that I could get a few more ounces off of this trigger, but I want to keep it safe. And so now we're going to test it doing the mallet test. So a couple of things before we do the mallet test. I want to give you a good look at the sear engagement here of where we are now, just to give you an idea of what it looks like compared to what yours may look like when you open it up. And just a little tip about doing the trigger testing. To keep things simple and visible, I've just been doing a regular test here. The best way, if you're going to be doing a lot of dry firing like this, is to just hold the hammer back and uncock it and test the trigger like that. Then you're not putting a lot of extra wear and tear on the valve that doesn't have any pressure on the back end of it. So, and you're ready to go.